Everything all right, miss?
What's your name?
I don't know.
Hi, well, it's amazing to talk to you. I just saw you at Osheaga a couple months ago here in Montreal, and you were amazing. So it's kind of surreal to be talking to you right now. I hope you're holding up well in quarantine. Um,
I'm trying to. I just trying to remember what day it is.
yeah, I hear you. So, what can you tell me about your character on the show without going too much into spoilers? I feel like with a show like this, I'm always wary of asking, too complicated a question, just because it seems like there's, especially with a character that's so ambiguous, they could be potentially an antagonist, potentially a protagonist. What can you tell me about your
Mm.
character?
She's a chameleon,
Mhm,
and she wakes up in a boat with
mhm,
no memory of who she is. So you're uncovering her identity along with we're uncovering it along with her. Every time she thinks she gets to the truth, she gets further from it. She gets closer to a lie. And she is also an ex-vet, and she's pretty complex and interesting and fun. Yeah.
I loved the first episode. That's pretty much just you and John Billingsley, and the kind of the slow reveal of the mystery. I think it's so cinematic, the show, compared to most TV shows. Were you aware of Homecoming before you signed on? Was it something that you watched the first season?
Of course, I was aware. I was a fan, and I was a fan of the podcast as well. And I was like, if they can bring what makes this special over into season two, then
Hmm.
it's a yes for me. And they did just that. When I read the scripts, they didn't send me the last episode, so I signed on without knowing how it was going to end. That's how excited I was. I feel like this show is an outlier in TV for many reasons. It's saying something about PTSD, about capitalism, about how we treat our ex vets, about manipulation, and it's saying something, about short term memory loss and amnesia, and those dealing with that, and how you cope with having to uncover your identity. And it's saying it in such a smart way. The score with the score,
The score is
being
really good.
as phenomenal. Love it. That was a big selling point for me. And then the writing is smart. How they're writing the characters, how we all, all of our stories, we need each other to come to the truth, and we're more alike in ways that we think that we are not alike.
It's also strange because to me the show's always seemed like a long movie, especially because it has one director, kind of one unifying vision, the whole thing.
Hmm.
Do you find that? Do you find that it's not for you making it? It didn't feel like a show; it felt more like a movie, or was it?
It
Or
did.
did it
It
actually?
did feel like it did feel like a movie, but
Mhm.
it had like a TV show schedule. Like a lot of my friends who are in TV, they pretty much kind of have like a good, Monday through Friday. Like that was really it. I had the weekends off pretty much. So it felt like I was going into a 9 to 5, which I love. And sometimes with TV, I mean, sometimes you have to do your night scenes and stuff like that. But those are every now and again. But pretty it felt, and we did a lot on the studios lot of Universal, and it was just a beautiful experience. And working with Kyle, Patrick, he set the tone. He's such a kind soul and so smart, and he has excellent taste. And I just felt, right in good hands having him do the whole season. I preferred that.
Oh well, thank you very much for your time, and take care.
Thank you so much, Chris. You too.
They're in charge here, whether we like it or not.
And you like it.
Hi guys,
Chris.
I hope you're holding up okay in quarantine.
Doing really well. Doing very well.
Good. So I gotta ask you guys. I don't want to give away too much with the show, but Chris, your Leonard Geist, of course, much talked about in the last season, and Audrey, a character that I felt like we didn't really necessarily know that much about in the first season for Hong. Um, so, what can you tell me about the dynamic between you guys in this season as compared to the other? Well, I mean, you weren't in the other season, but you were obviously on. What can you tell me about your dynamic this time?
You're right. My character Audrey Temple is introduced in the first season, but their intention, by they I mean the writers, Michael Bloomberg. Michael Bloomberg and Eli Horowitz. Their intention was that the character would seem pretty insignificant and in the background, and they wanted to save it for the second season so that we could follow her on her journey of trying to make big career moves. The relationship between Audrey Temple and Chris's character Leonard Geist is pretty complicated. She sees him as somebody who is intimidating, who she reveres because he's accomplished so much, but also strangely she feels like she might have an in with him because he is a person who isn't your typical CEO, who appreciates a really hard worker, who's just practical and who just wants to get their hands dirty and do the work.
Chris, were you aware of the show before you signed on? Did you watch the first season?
Oh man, absolutely, absolutely. That's what got me interested. I loved every aspect of this show, of this first season, in so many respects. The writing, the casting, the pace, these scenes. I realized I was so taken. It was like these scenes breathe. They've allowed the actors to let the actors act, and greatly appreciated. And then just we found out that Julia is not going to join the second season, and other characters had to be introduced, and there was this character of Leonard Geist. And having read the scripts, I felt I could do something with it, and certainly wanted to come aboard, be a part of it.
How do you guys feel about kind of how the way the medium has kind of expanded so much over the years with streaming? Because like you said, you can do this dense, really evocative show that's not necessarily bang, bang, bang like you would get on a network, something that you could take time to develop. What are your feelings about that? Because it feels like the medium has just expanded so much in the last couple of years.
I really enjoy doing things this way. I like that we were able to receive all 7 scripts prior to filming. That's a little bit different from other episodic shows where the cast and the crew are receiving them piecemeal week by week as they go. And it depends on the show, but for us, that approach would not have worked because we all needed to know the entire story and all of the information prior. It would have made our jobs impossible if we didn't know where our characters were going and what they knew in that particular moment.
Right. Well, thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it. And take care of yourselves.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
And cut deck.
It's hard for me to talk about this. I'm sorry.
Well, I really loved season 1, and I've been watching season 2, of course. And I think what's really cool about this, for me anyway, is that it feels like this is less of a season 2, almost more like a movie, like a sequel, because it's so different. The style is so different. How did working on season 1 compare to working on season 2?
I think you're certainly, right to have that feeling about it. For me, season 2 just feels like its own standalone thing. I think that's a big credit to Kyle Patrick Alvarez, our director this season, who took on what could have been a daunting task of taking on Sam Esmail's version of Homecoming and continuing that. But he's really done a fantastic job, considering all the elements, a new cast, and sort of being outside of the confines of this homecoming facility that we were stuck in, in the first season. So it's a big kudos to Kyle Patrick Alvarez for making it feel like its own thing and putting his stamp on it aesthetically.
So, what can you tell us about Walter Cruz this season? Because I don't want to give away too many spoilers, and I feel like if I ask any question the wrong way, it's gonna be a massive spoiler. What can you tell me about where he's at in season 2 compared to how we left him in season 1?
Yeah, I think that, for anybody who was a fan of that first season, you kind of got to witness a Walter Cruz who, was a little bit naive, a little bit aloof, somebody who had been taken advantage of, and rightfully so. I mean, his memory was being taken from him sort of by the second. And for me, this season, Walter still has a lot of curiosity about what took place in that first season, a lot of questions and a lot of paranoia. And it's almost like he's unwilling to trust anyone's version of what really happened. He needs to find this out for himself. And so in turn, he goes on this relentless pursuit for the truth. And it's been an incredible ride for me to show that change this season.
So much of the first season too was really a two-hander for you and Julia Roberts, with that amazing chemistry that you guys had together. How is it different with Janelle Monáe this season?
Yeah, I think that
Who's great too. I mean, I have to say, she is.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, those ladies made it easy on me. What can I say? I've been extremely spoiled to be able to go from Julia Roberts to now Janelle Monáe. They both do obviously fantastic, incredible work and bring something different to it. I think that, I realized that with Julia, a lot of the, things came sort of secondhand, really sort of effortless. And with Janelle, you can kind of see the calculation sometimes going on in her brain of like how to piece certain moments together and certain scenes together. And in turn, she delivers work that's just as brilliant. So I've really appreciated being able to work with both of those ladies.
And I got to ask you also, given the situation, how are you holding up? What are you up to these days? Keeping busy?
Yeah. Definitely just trying to stay creative, keep my creative juices flowing. I found out that maybe I'm a writer. I've been writing down things and putting ideas together. So it's cool, man. It's quarantine where you get to find out things about yourself you never thought you knew.
But what if we let the crazy world in?
If you keep picking at this, it's gonna start bleeding.